a few licks on the chin. Just keep your head down and carry on. You fight like hell, turn the other cheek. It's what separates the strong from the weak. And that's just the way that the line gets drawn. You gotta keep on living till the fight.
Hello, welcome to episode 11 of 10 Minute Misconduct, the unofficial FPHL podcast. As always, I am Lee. I'm joined by Ed.
Hello, how are you folks? And we have Sean.
You'll notice Anna looks a little bit different this week.
She grew a beard.
Yeah, actually, Anna and Taylor couldn't be here, so we called in our backup. He's going to be our fill-in host anytime somebody calls out from now on. This gentleman has the perfect hockey name. Yes, he's my nephew. His full name is Sean Patrick Gretzky Marion. Perfect name for a hockey podcast. How's it going, pal?
Always. It's going good, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on and talk with you guys and everything. Really excited about tonight.
Yeah, and today we have a awesome guest. I know we were supposed to have Ryan Marker on, but he had to cancel, unfortunately. It happens. So we called an audible, and I made a call. Last minute, we have John Krupinski, assistant coach of the Danbury Hat Tricks. He's a good friend, and he graciously agreed to come on last minute. I have no doubt this is going to be one of our best episodes because not only, like I said, is he an assistant coach, but he's been viral. He's been on Fox News. He's a bit of, I'd call him a celebrity. And I tell you how gracious he is. He doesn't really consider himself a celebrity, but this is going to be another great episode. I can't wait to get into it, But this week we don't really have too much to talk about the league. It's kind of a quiet week, I guess you could say. Other than, I don't want to go into it what happened in Elmira because we don't have all the information yet. Once we do, maybe we'll talk about it. But other than that, we had some great hockey this week. Of course, Ed's not too happy. It's kind of hard to be happy when you get beat by a combined score of 17-3.
Stuff happens, man. Long travel,
Oh, wait, no, I said 15-3. I'm sorry. It was bad enough as it is. I don't want to make it worse, 15-3.
Quality of food wasn't good. You probably made put some melatonin in their food. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I hear excuses. Get out of here.
Hey, now.
Man, I know you've got already the built-in excuse. We only had 13 players.
No, I'll stick with the melatonin part. Yeah, at least he got 3 goals. Come on. It could have been worse. It could have been worse. Could have been 0.
Mercy points are better than no points. Am I right? No, I'm just joking.
Is that like a participation trophy?
It's a lot better than it was in Hershey, Pennsylvania this past couple days here. They had a Teddy Bear Toss game.
Oh, I felt so bad for them. Yeah, I felt so bad for them because they're the kings of the Teddy Bear Toss, really.
I know
they hold the world record.
So pent up with rage that they finally said, "Fuck it, we're going to call the game with 5 seconds left. We have these fucking teddy bears we don't want on the ice." And I heard the referee did not like it very well because he wanted to put in a full game. Come on, 5 seconds left. Come on. Yeah, but
I hate that. Anytime there's Teddy Bear Toss, to get shut out on Teddy Bear Toss night, that's the one game you don't want to get shut out on. I felt so bad for those fans.
It's like you could at least gave him the goal, with at least 10 seconds or something like that left. Come on now. And especially this one, I was watching the video, there's big fucking teddy bear, probably the size of 5 people. They threw over the ice and they were all excited about it. I'm like, come on now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's always been one of my favorite games to go to, and to get shut out. That's the one thing I'm glad Columbus never got shut out on Teddy Bear Toss night. Knock on wood.
Sure. Well, this year we did pretty good, and now I tell you what, doing I played the Oregon the night we did the Teddy Bear Toss, and that was probably one of the coolest nights of my life, to play for all that. I mean, because it makes it easy for me because it creates a happy atmosphere. So, and I played,
Right.
I think I played like Jingle Bells or something, just, like a little like filler, and everyone loved it, went nuts over. So it's just that atmosphere that's created on those nights. I mean, it's hockey. That's part of it, It's that family, those traditional bonds. So it was amazing. But yeah, Columbus never disappoints. Come on.
But I believe you guys
Yeah, we're
had
not
those,
Port Huron.
you had those breast cancer pink jerseys this past weekend, correct?
Yeah,
They were
correct.
very.
Oh, beautiful.
I will give I will give street cred where street cred is due. Those were nice looking jerseys. I would not mind getting one. But that's where the street cred ends. It was a very pretty jersey. I liked it very much. You guys did well, man.
Well,
Scott Brand, nice job.
Well, you guys had those Grinch jerseys when Columbus was up there that everybody wanted one. It's only fair that when you guys come to town and we embarrass you, we wear the pink jerseys. Okay, well, let's get John in here.
Well.
I think John's ready. John's ready to come in. So come on in. Let's welcome John in. We'll get this rolling. All right, guys. We are very proud to have our next guest for this week. This man, you might have seen him. He's gone viral. He's been on Fox News. But he's also assistant coach for the Danbury Hat Tricks. John Krupinski. John, welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Hello.
Yeah, so we're gonna start out pretty simple. Everybody, I think by now has seen the viral video from years ago. So when you did that speech, first off, did you know you were being recorded?
Yeah,
And
all week long. I mean, guys got cameras everywhere. It's that's not anything out of the norm during camp. We try to make the experience pleasant for these kids that pay $250 to come there for 4 days. For some kids, it's simply a fantasy camp. They leave with a jersey, some great memories, and got to play along with some pro players. So there's cameras all over the place. Look, I'm a cop in my full-time job. I wear a camera all the time. A camera is not going to change the way I am.
Did you ever imagine that speech was going to go viral like it did and basically turn you into a celebrity?
No. I mean, to me, that wasn't anything out of the ordinary. It's a basic concept for every American out there. Be respectful to your flag and your anthem. I don't think that should be something that's so out of the ordinary that you get 40 million views on. To me, it was just, common sense. And quite honestly, I was pissed off. That was the week when Megan Rapinoe was kneeling. First off, camp, I don't like getting up at 5:30 in the morning to be at the arena at 6. So you get down there, I'm already tired and cranky. I walk in and we have all the big screens on down there. And to come in and see the captain of any U.S. team, but she's the captain of the U.S. women's soccer team in a USA jersey across her chest, taking a knee during the anthem, just pushed me over the edge. And I couldn't get that out of my mind as I stomped up them stairs to go in that locker room. And I said, look, let's just cover this now. In camp, you're looking for reasons to get rid of somebody. So if there was anybody, but again, like I said, we don't have that problem in hockey at all.
So through your career, what have you made you decide to be a coach?
It's funny. And when you talk about the viral video hockey and my other job, I just started when the Danbury Trashers came. I would work the hockey games. And that was how I ended up inside the arena. Prior to that, I hadn't stepped in the arena. I started working the games. And the funny part that I tell people too is I've been a cop 41 years. I had sent my resume, which is pretty extensive in the police world, to Fox News 100 times because I wasn't happy with some of the guests that they would have on that have, got like 5 years on the job. Never once did I ever get an answer. I didn't even get a thanks for trying. Never heard anything. Now, in the police field, I end up working these games. Then it becomes a little more. Then it becomes after the game. Then these guys become personal friends. Then we go into season 2. I'm helping do some things. So now one job kind of gravitates into the other. Trashers come and go. Then we have the New England Stars. That was pretty much a one-man show. Phil Esposito was the player, coach, everything. I'd known Phil, so I spend a little bit of time with those guys. I'd work the game as a cop in uniform, but if they needed something from the bench during the game, I'd run it down to them. Then you move on to some of the other teams that we start bringing in. Danbury Mad Hatters. I'm reunited with Dave McIsaac. Comes back as the coach. Has zero help in that. That was a small 4-team league. End up starting helping Dave, going into the locker room, helping out when he wasn't there. Now we morph into, I get a call from Herm Sorcher, who says to me, hey, we're thinking about putting a Danbury Whaler team in. I was told that, in the arena that, you're the guy to come to, that you've been around for a little bit. I'd meet Herm, end up being on the Whaler staff. And again, in these leagues, not too many people even have assistant coaches. We're one of the teams that do have a bunch, and we're lucky we're in that position. So I started helping out there. We had Chris Ferriolo, then we went to Phil Esposito, and I was able to just by spending time and doing the things that I was doing. And one thing on a good note, if you're an assistant coach working for Phil in the FHL, was good, because I think that season Phil got suspended maybe like 15 games. So I got some starts and had some fun. And then we went on to the Titans, and it was just reassuming the role. And now here we are with the hat tricks. So that's kind of the evolution of how I got there. But the funny part of it is policing got me into hockey. But then later with that viral video, hockey got me into policing at Fox. So they kind of worked hand in hand for me.
Very cool. So I actually didn't know the whole, you being a cop thing. So that just adds to like the nostalgia of it for me. So I've just been, just so you kind of know a little bit about me, I've just been a hockey fan since, day one. Grew up in a hockey family. Also grew up in, now that you say the whole police thing, grew up in like a first responder family. Almost everyone in my family had something, mostly fire department, but kind of all in that same thing. So first of all, I appreciate your service. But I'm also a singer, and so I actually sing the national anthem for the River Dragons a lot. And so when they told me I could be on this episode, I was like, this will be cool. Because I remember seeing that video, and it really was like one of the coolest things especially in that time, like you were saying, right after
week,
all that had happened.
it was the week.
Right, for sure. And so one question, and you kind of already tapped on it a little bit, but what was there any more to that story, like leading up to the speech? Like, did you know, like, hey, did you just know, like, that morning, like, okay, I'm sick of this shit, like, I need to get this handled?
No. It was a spur of the moment. That speech was born in the lobby of the Danbury Ice Arena when I come in and the monitors are on, and it's all over every news station that there is. And
Right.
There she is kneeling. And it was also the same week they would flip-flop between her and Colin Kaepernick, who said you couldn't wear Betty Ross shoes. I don't know what they have against Betty Ross, but it was at that moment between the lobby and walking up to that locker room that just pushed me over the edge on that.
What do you think, kind of to follow up that, what do you think, I know you said, like, in hockey, we don't have those problems. Like, it's just, like, not present. What do you think separates hockey from these other sports where we're having this problem of, like, people kneeling, people making these decisions like they can, and when literally America is what gives them that right to, and not to go political, but gives them that right to do what they do. No one else can do this in many other countries.
I'll tell you, I think it's something I want to cover because it always comes up. And you guys that follow Danbury hockey through the years, a lot of people attempted to make that a racial incident and a racial overtone out of that, which was farthest from my mind or what any of that was intended to be. And I'll tell you why that pissed me off. In Danbury, we have a history of black players. At one time on the Whalers, we had 5 black players on the ice at one time, which is kind of unprecedented. I said we should have been getting money from the NHL for diversity at that point. we have always welcomed black players. I personally gone out and recruited. I was begging Aaron Atwell to come to Danbury. Steve Brown. What really pissed me off was I said to some people when they said, "Oh well, because it's an all-white sport." Well, it's not an all-white sport in Danbury. Number one, and number two, do you have the audacity to tell me that my black players aren't as patriotic as my white players? Because I find that extremely offensive. And once we got through that, especially because, and I was very careful, because I don't care, I wouldn't tolerate any anthem being disrespected. But because we play both, because I have tons of Canadians, I said the American or the Canadian national anthem. Don't disrespect either. And we kind of got through that. That was a very short-lived, only one or two people asked that question. And then we kind of moved on from there.
You mentioned working with the Trashers as a police officer. Kind of knowing now, kind of like their ties to the mob. What did that make it hard for you to do your job, or were you even aware of the Galante alleged ties to the mob?
Well, I mean, in those days it was all over the papers. It wasn't a secret. Listen, in life, I don't care who you are, where you're from, what color your skin is, what language you speak. I treat people how they treat me. Period. That's how I've lived my life from day one. Look, as a cop, some people don't like me talking to some people. We arrest people every day. And you know what? If the guy was respectful, treats me, there are guys that come into the arena that I've actually locked up. And it's, hey, coach, shake my hand. Hey, bud, how you doing? I've never taken the job personal, and I've continued to treat people how they treat me. The Galantes have always treated me with the utmost respect, and I to them, and I didn't really care. I never had a problem with that. I was there to do my job. They knew that.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much the answer I expected. I've had a few chats with AJ, and he comes off as nothing but first class all the way.
Clearly, they are. I mean,
that's not something that somebody just develops. That's something that kind of respect that they get that from their parents.
You either have it or you don't.
Just get the impression.
And that family.
Yeah, I just get the impression that that entire family is first class all the way, no matter what he did. And you know what, his dad served his time for whatever he did. As far as I'm concerned, he's got a clean slate, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're a first class family, and again, I constantly remind people that there would be no hockey in Danbury today if it weren't for Jimmy and AJ. Bottom line.
Yeah.
If they, that arena that we had would only seat 700 people, which wouldn't have been ever enough. There was no second floor. There were no locker rooms. Had they not done what they done, every team and organization will continue to owe them for their eternity if they play in that building.
What team in the league do you least like to play, or is most difficult to coach your team against for?
Binghamton is always tough. I would say that's one of our bigger rivalries right now. Only because, hey, look, we're both fighting that we're fighting to stay in first. They're fighting to try to get there. Then you flip the coin of, hey, Tyler Jurich came to our camp. He was a walk-on to our team in camp and ended up going with us in, winning a scoring championship, a couple of them. So, I got friends on that side of the bench. Look, for 60 minutes, we're not friends. Before the game, we'll go down and hug. After the game, one thing that I always do, and I believe as a coach, it's just as important to handle that job as my cop job. It's never personal. After each game, for you guys that have been to our arena, we got the rabbit hole upstairs, beautiful axe throwing bar. I individually go down and invite every coach and every team member from the other team. And I don't care. And I like to do it before the game because you don't know who won or lost. And then after, right. Whether if we lose, I'll tell them, hey, doesn't matter, guys, come on up and get a beer anyway. I think that portion of respect for the game still needs to exist. That was a big thing with Dave Montero that I worked with for several years, and he coached our police team. He still does when we have tournaments or games. And, he was always preaching to me about respect to the game. When the game's over, the game's over. So
Right.
I would put Binghamton up to the top. Now, my favorite team to play, and nobody will believe this, but it's Columbus.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, we don't get to play him. Look, nobody loves Justin more than I do. Just a great guy. I don't have to invite him. He's in the bar before I'm out of the locker room saying, "Hey, coach, I think it's on you." They're just
Right.
great guys. Have a great time when Delaware comes up too.
It's kind of like wrestling. When you're in the ring, we're all like, "Arr," but then when you go back in the dressing room, you're like all best friends. But to follow up on that, and then to the next question, but what team would you least like to face in the finals of the playoffs?
Well, I mean, it can't happen. We can't face Binghamton in the finals, but I would expect Columbus to be there. Look, they're the toughest team in the league to beat. So I would say, look, if they got knocked off in the first or second round, I certainly wouldn't be crying. But I think the only thing is I didn't get to go on the other road trip down there, so I'd really like to get down there in the finals. But I would love to see them get knocked off early. They seem to have had the ability to beat us a couple times. So this is a big weekend for us coming up. I think we need to show that, they're not going to beat us in our house.
Right. Well, I'm from Port Huron, so I'll probably see you in a couple of weeks then, probably.
I may actually make that trip.
Oh, yay. All right.
So Ed, you're saying the beer's on you next when he comes, right?
Absolutely. You know where to find me.
There you go.
Or the coffee.
I like them cheap dates.
I own a coffee shop, so if you want some coffee, let me know.
So, Coach, just speaking with you and kind of knowing a little bit about you, I can tell that you're a guy, where you're, some might say like he's hard on his guys, he's hard on his players, but you can obviously see it's one of the things where it's out of love. You love your guys. I mean, I know I can see it like in the way you say things, in the way you coach, in the way, even in just like what we were talking, not to go back to the anthem thing, the whole speech there, but even in that, you care. And so what is one, like, I kind of like these kind of stories. So briefly, like, what's one story of a specific player that, like, you found maybe at, like, just like a low point, whether it was talent-wise, character-wise, whatever, and that you might have, you got to kind of help bring him up, and whether he's still with you, whether he's not, what's just one story, what's like the first thing that comes to your head when you think about that?
Well, there's been a bunch. Like, I got a call from Dave Montero when Gavrik was going to be available way back when he played with us. And, he called, he said, "Hey, look, I got a call from an upper level team. They basically, it was late in the season, so their playoff roster was set. There was nothing they could do with them. So they said, hey, can you send him down here?" So poor kid shows up, his English at that. Now he lives here in Connecticut and his English is great. But when he first arrived, he could speak English, but he was a little rough around the edges, didn't really know anybody. And, he was sleeping on the floor when he got here because he was just an after, we would never gone out and look for somebody that late in the season. I picked him up, drove him up, bought him a bed, bought him a mattress. And, and then that kid, when he got on the ice, produced. He ended up in the World Games, in the gold medal game, having the winning goal and stuff. The kid really turned into a player. He gave us, several good years. He's probably one of my favorite stories. Nothing like, taking a chance and picking up the phone and calling AJ and say, "I want that Amesbury guy's number." And AJ gave it to me, and hey, now we have Amesy here too. So there's been a ton of them. I'll tell you what hurts on the other side. Like this week was an absolute killer when we had to release. I'm not real happy with the new format of trimming down the rosters as much as we have to. We don't have those extra spots for if somebody gets hurt or, we didn't expect to lose some players that we did to injury right now. And to lose Mike Lopez, You have to know Mike Lopez to understand that. He's an absolute team favorite, fan favorite, coach favorite. There isn't anybody you'll ever find anywhere. And Mike really, really did improve his game. He was right there, right on the edge. To have to release him, which we never would have if we could have made the roster spots work. It's like losing a kid when you have to do that. That's the part about this job that sucks. It really does. To go into a kid that you really like, and you have to say, I just don't have room for you. And that's all it was with him, was a matter of how many roster spots do we have.
Well, and I figured you were going to come to something like that, where it's a thing of, as great as it is to spend time with a player, to grow a player, the worst part, especially in the league we're in, is when you get one of those guys to a certain level, and you made them so desirable that there's a good chance of them going, and so you have to deal with the emotion of that too, of just like, hey, I've invested, and I know that's the reason you do this too. That's the reason you're a coach at this level, is to push these guys as far as you can in their career and see how far. I know in Columbus, like, there was so many guys that we had, like CJ Hayes and these guys, and they move quick. I mean, it's like you can't hold on to them for long, because they get a little bit better, and then the next league snatches them up. And you just hope that, you miss them, but you hope they keep on moving on from there.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of guys in Danbury. There probably would have been a couple more championships had we not lost some of the guys that we lost. But we're bringing in, we go out and find the best quality of player. If you're worrying nothing more than winning a championship, you don't want to go out and get the best players. You want to get that next tier down player, because you're going to keep them all season. But look, that's not what we're about. And I honestly, I take this job a lot more seriously when it comes to some other things. It's not always just about trying to keep a player here. I've had players actually call me up and say, hey, coach, I want to come back. But you know what? In this league, I think you're a coach and a mentor to players. Sure. If you look, I tell everybody, and I don't want to give away any secrets here, but I'm going after some very good college players when their season is ended, because that's the one thing we can do for the roster that they don't have to have the 10 games in. And I grab a college player and say, hey, look, instead of backpacking across America, come and win a championship with me. But what I don't want to do is, and I had this with one player who was well up there. Coach, I want to come back. I'm like, bro, you got to move on in life here. You don't want to play for me for the next 10 years and not move along in life and see the things that are there to be seen. I know your love of the game. That's why we're all here. But I think a coach, sometimes you have to step back and make sure you're not selfish. What's the best thing for that individual player?
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that, and I'll stop after this one because I know I'm just running it right now. But I know that that's like one thing, especially in this league, that like, in order to be like a true supporter of the FPHL, you have to understand, like, I love these guys, like, in Columbus, like, and I've only really seen in Columbus because that's where I'm from, obviously, but like, support them, like, love on them while you're here in the community. Same thing with the coaches. But like, when they have to go, it's time, like, that's what we're about. This isn't about keeping a guy for the rest of his career. This is
Correct.
About changing young men's life, moving them along in hockey, and just letting them fly and seeing how far they'll go. And there's a lot of young talent in this league, especially right now. I mean, I've been able to watch it grow in Columbus for the last 4 years, and amazing young talent coming through. So no, but that's I'll let you know, it's appreciated to know that the coaches are thinking right. At least on your end, you're thinking in the right direction. And I think most of the coaches are. I at least hope so. But it's good to hear that you are in that vein.
Yeah, and too, when you get that phone call, generally the call-ups come to the coach. One thing I'm proud about our tradition, 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 coaches I've played for, I have never once seen a coach say, okay, I'll go check with him, put the phone down and say, nah, he didn't want to come. That's not what Danbury is all about. Anytime we have the opportunity to move somebody up, we'll always bring it to him. What I am proud of is I've had numerous players, one of them this season, who received the call to could have gone up and said, no, I'm going to stay in Danbury. Thanks. I appreciate it. And again, you got to understand, some of these guys here can be a superstar, but get even into the SP and only get a couple shifts a game, where here, look, we treat our players right, and they appreciate that. And, some of them have turned down call-ups also. Certainly Johnny Ruiz could be playing in several upper leagues, and, he elects to stay here.
Right. For sure.
Amesy could have gone.
So you brought Amesbury up. I hate the term goon, but knowing Amesbury personally from his time when he played in Columbus for the Cottonmouths, I never consider a guy like him a goon, but there are fans in the league who do. But how is it to coach a player like him who, one, he's not afraid to freight train a guy on the ice. If you got the puck he's on the ice, you better realize, have your fucking head on a swivel.
100%.
But he's also willing to sacrifice his body for the team. That man, if he could fight 3 times a night, I honestly think he would fight 3 times every single game. So what is it like coaching a player like him and seeing players like him and Justin Schmidt who are almost bringing back the role of the true enforcer in pro hockey, even at this level?
Well, to be honest with you, it's like heaven. Look, I never hear me use that word. Oh, he's my goon. I like to use the word protector because he's protecting my goal scorers. He's protecting my teammates. People aren't going to take liberties. And, with him being out right now, there's some teams that took some liberties. That won't happen when he's sitting on the bench. Just his presence, mere presence with him, takes care of 90% of our problems. I hope that we can go through a game all night without having to, have a fight. And a lot of times with him sitting there, that does happen. What I'm looking for is somebody that's going to protect my star players out there. Look, we had a bad 3 years, and I got to raise my hand and say, it's on me. I was unable for the last 3 years to locate anyone that could fight. And guys, I have a pretty extensive phone book in my iPhone. I called everybody, from friends in the NHL to any kid who's floating around to former fighters. Corey Fulton, what are you doing? You want to throw the jersey on one more time? I could not get anybody in here, and that cost us a lot of games. I got, the last thing I want are my superstar players, and that was happening the last couple of years. I don't want Levesque out there fighting. I don't want Ruiz out there fighting. I don't want Gesso out there fighting, but there was nobody else. If somebody took a shot at them, they either had to handle it themselves or put their head down and walk away, which opened it up for, okay, I guess I can do it again. This year, we certainly don't see that problem.
Yeah, I love Amesbury, and I got to say, without AJ bringing in Ice Wars, Amesbury would not. I don't think he'd be back in pro hockey.
100% he wouldn't have. I would think I was probably the only coach tuning into Ice Wars with a notebook and a pen out there. And look, I've also been in contact with other guys. If Amesy gets hurt or Amesy's out, we got to bring somebody else in. But Ice Wars has given us, and it's great having AJ in Danbury. I could stop by his office and say, hey, give me this guy's number. Give me that guy's number. But that role is more of a protector role than anything else. Plus, we get a good plus. Amesy played in an upper league, so he can play hockey in this league. In the past, I've had some guys that you could only put out there when it was time to do something, and that hurts your bench. Where Amesy, hey, we had one game he had more points than penalty minutes. So hey, that's that's huge. He can play at this level if he wants to go out and play hockey too. So that does help us.
Yeah, me and Sean Patrick were lucky enough to see him in Columbus with the Cottonmouths and the SP winning a championship, and I'll never forget that. I even told Ames when we had him on, one of my favorite photographs I ever took working for Pro Hockey News was on the ice of him getting his championship ring and being in that, in that pile with the cup, skating the cup. That's one of my all-time favorite hockey memories. And he's just a good kid. I call him a kid. He's not really a kid anymore, but he's a great guy. He is literally one of the guys you hate to play against, but you would kill to have him on your team.
Yeah, 100%. And also, he reminds me a lot of like Brad Wingfield for the Trashers. I mean, Brad would absolutely destroy you during a game, but after the game, you couldn't find a more sweet, compassionate guy going out there playing with the kids. And that's how Amesy is. He's not one of these guys that gets off the ice and runs around like a tough guy and acts like a chip on his shoulder. You would probably if you met him out on the street, would probably never know what his job and role is with this team because he is such a gentleman out there.
I know we had him on our podcast, and I think our episode 2, and he was an amazing guy. He was really amazing. He was so nice. He was like well mannered, well everything. Couldn't ask for a better person.
No, and that's how it is. And that's how it should be. Again, on ice and off ice. During a game, one thing that just besides inviting guys up for beers, I always stop down as the assistant. Look, Billy and the other assistants are busy during the prep for the game. I have a little bit of free time. I'll always stop down, see the other coach. Hey, is there anything you need? Every once in a while, somebody needs a set of laces. Somebody needs a skate sharpened because they nicked it or whatever. And I always have tried to maintain a friendly relationship, not an ad. I see some coaches, and I've been on benches and seen coaches on the other team or coaches on our team yelling at a player out on the ice. I never got really involved in that because due to the fact, and here we are, Billy McCreary. Now, back in the day, Billy was a nemesis in Danbury. Billy was hated in Danbury when he played against us.
He was hated in Columbus, too, when he played for Huntsville.
And he was played against us, and him and Phil would go at it when Billy was on the ice and stuff. All he got out of me was, hey, Billy, what's going on? And then, all of a sudden, here you go. Hey, he's your new boss. I can go back to one of my best stories. Chris Ferriolo. You got to go way back when he was coaching the Jersey Rockhoppers. Back in that league, I'm working as a cop. They get into a big scuffle in the tunnel, like where both teams come off. So we got to get down. I'm pushing him back, and Chris is yelling, I want him arrested. I said, bro, this is hockey. Nobody gets arrested. Just go back to your house. And Chris is going off. I said, hey, if you want somebody locked up, you're in the wrong building. You need to go play tennis, not hockey. And, that happens, and then night's over. Nobody gets arrested, and we move on. And now you got to go like 3.5, 4 years after that when I get the call from Herm. And he comes in, he's like, hey, I want you to come meet your coach. I see this guy in there, but it didn't, 2 and 2. And he's like, hey, how you doing, John? Hey, how you going? Did you remember me? I'm like, no. He said, you told me I should go play tennis. I go, oh, you're the coach in Jersey. And he's my so I've had a lot of bosses, but I've always treated the other players with respect. Now, that doesn't mean sometimes during hot points of the game, somebody's not going to yell at me and I might yell at them. But, again, the game's over. We're all up drinking beers, laughing and joking. What that's given me is a coach is the ability to pick up those phones later and say, hey, why don't you come on down to Danbury? They're not going to hang up on me. They're going to at least hear me out. They're going to talk to me. And then that enables me to go to Billy and say, hey, we can have this guy.
I think that's what I think that's what separates.
Hey, man, you got to do the order thing or he's going to go off.
Yeah, so I think it is your turn. So you go ahead. I'll talk in a second. You go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll wrap it up. Go ahead.
And I think that was kind of what does separate hockey from the other sports is the fact that, like, you still have the entertainment. There's still the rivalry. You got to have that to have, like, the entertainment aspect of it and to, make it, like, a little bit more. But at the end of the game, everyone who's been on this podcast, this always comes up. Everyone always loves each other for the most part. Like, it's like it's not just about the team winning. It's about Let's get out here. Let's play the game that we all love to play. That's the one thing that everybody has in common. You all love the game. And so it's like going to the team. Hey, do you need some laces? Do you need your skate chart? Like, I want your team to be on its A game because my team's bringing it, and I want this to be a good competition. I want to beat you at your best, you know. And then after the game, we'll go have some beers, chalk it up, and better luck next time, you know. And that's what, you know. And you see these guys out here fighting. I know when Ansby came to Columbus and he was fighting on the ice with oh my gosh, I forgot his name. The other guy that was in Ice Wars, he plays for the Dragons. Schmidt, yeah. And like I was there for that fight, and you get to see that fight, and then like they pat each other on the back, give each other a hug afterwards. And it's completely, you know, it's like,
oh, they're actually real
that's
good
the thing.
friends. Nobody loves Schmitty more than me. If I couldn't have got Amesbury, I would have been trying to make a trade. I love the guy.
But no.
You know, just he's another
You
guy.
can't have him.
He promised me we're going to play with some alligators when we come down
There
for the
you go.
finals. So.
But I mean, that's the thing about it, is it's just the love for hockey is what separates hockey people from the rest of sports. There's always that love that unites everybody.
And, you know, another thing, too, in teams we play against and stuff, you know, with the passing of Ojic's dad, you see the outpouring of every other team, the calls, what can I do for you? Hey, I got my brothers in Canada. Is there something you need? It's just, I don't think there's many sports that have that compassion for each other that we do here in hockey.
Yeah,
I remember. I think
I sent you our tribute video we did for Gino.
I saw that. That was awesome.
Just being a hockey fan, when our producer made that tribute and I saw that for the first time, I'm not gonna lie, I had to reach for the tissues. It was such a beautiful tribute. The slideshow at the end and the Gino chants. Those were when he was first diagnosed from the fans outside the hospital. I found that, I was like, this was perfect, and that's what we do. Show that this is a family. It does show hockey is one big giant family,
and that's how it should be.
It's like I think it was Alex Ovechkin. I can't say the guy's last name. When he scored his 800th goal, I think they were playing Philadelphia, and the other team just all congratulated him too. You know, it was just like big old family affair. You know, every single player wanted to shake his hand. You know. It was like you were living for the moment, which is pretty cool. Not a lot of sports you see this. Most like, you know, I don't see it like in basketball that much. So to see it in hockey, it's pretty cool. I think baseball is another one that may be close to being more commodity-like. But like basketball and maybe football, but yeah. But it's a nice thing to know that, you know, even now that I'm like a PHL fan from Port Huron, I can watch in like other leagues and all that stuff, and talk to other hockey fans from other teams and all that stuff, and be like that they're in the same league. It's like hockey fans and players that seem to have this like little family, like a little bond, like invisible bond that, you know, only we understand, and it's pretty cool. Saying that, then I know that the FPHL has like sent out rumors or something that I received that they might expand to 16 teams next season. What city would you like to see a team in next year?
Well, I mean, for us in Danbury, we would obviously like to see a New York metro area or a New Jersey team that we could get, like back when we had the Jersey team and we had, you know, an hour ride. When we had the Brewster team, that was awesome. A road trip, 15 minutes. You know,
the Brewster Bulldogs,
yeah. You know, something of that nature would really help us on the road trip. You know, you might also, you know, that helps us. Now, there's other teams. You got a team in Mississippi. You got a team in North Carolina. You got a team in Georgia. Hey, a Florida team for them would fit really well for a nice loop around. So, you know, depending on what team, you know, you're at and where you're at, it's very likely that this will probably be my last my last season in Danbury, as I am set to retire, and I will be heading way south to the big city of St. Petersburg.
Don't say that.
No, it just comes time. That's why I told the boys I'd like to have one more of these rings on my finger by the end of this season, you know?
Oh, everybody, you'd like to have one for each finger. I think you'd like to have one for each finger, right?
Yeah, that'd be nice. but I'll take one more. And incidentally, the island which I'm moving to, a very dear and good friend of mine who is the former CEO of the Tampa Bay Lightning is also moving in right down the street from me.
So
Billy McGee.
So the hockey family stays together, as told earlier.
Yeah, and we'll be over talking to Phil Esposito. I told Billy, find me an arena down here that holds 2,000.
So you've won.
I'll send out a request for a party next season.
You've gotten quite a few awards. You got the FPHL Founders Award. You got the Fox News Most Patriotic Sportsman Award. I'm sure you've gotten awards from your career in law enforcement. Of all your awards and certificates that you have received, which one do you cherish the most?
I'd have to say, look, the Patriot Award was awesome. That was like going to the Oscars, bro. There was no difference. They sold out 3,000 seats in 1 week. Great time, but I cherish my Founders Award to be recognized by not just my team. I won the Assistant Coach of the Year award a couple times, but that's kind of narrow. The Founders Award, I was recognized by everybody on that. That was pretty important. I will say, police world, I've been Officer of the Year twice and a few other awards, but probably if I had to group them all together, I'd have to say I was the recipient of a life-saving award while working. I'm the commander of the dive team, and while working a detail out on the lake for a triathlon, a guy had a heart attack and went down. We were able to go down, get him, drag him to shore, and he lived to tell about it. I don't think you can put a price on human life, and I would probably have to put that one towards the top. But it doesn't diminish the other awards in the reasoning in which I was able to win those. I've had a very blessed life and been very fortunate. A lot of it has to just do in life being in the right place at the right time.
That's
I guess
beautiful.
to follow up on that. You want to wrap it up? I'm just going to ask him one more question, and we can wrap it up. Following on that, best memories and all that stuff, what would be your best memory, your best game of your coaching career? Do you have a specific game that you would say that you found most memorable?
Well, obviously the championship win. That just we didn't want to go off the ice. That just goes with you forever. But there's been some other games. I'll tell you, playing against Binghamton and scoring that goal with 6 seconds left and going on to win the game, that's one of the top 5 anyway in there. Also back with the Mad Hatters. I think you sent me the clip the other day. You saw Devin Guy go in, and I was expecting a penalty there, but he got away with it and scoring that game for us to move on against Brooklyn. Some of them big last-second wins, huge, absolutely huge. They all fit into that same realm. I'd have to put it, obviously, with the championship win. There's just no other feeling in the world like winning a championship.
No doubt. So I think we have time for maybe one round of Chirp and Turtle, our new segment here. So I have a feeling I know who the answer is going to be for this, but who is most likely to look at a grizzly bear and think, I can take him?
Well, I don't think there's any question with Amesy. But if the grizzly bear pissed Gesso off, it wouldn't stop him. He'd be out of the car.
Who would you say that would probably be late for their own funeral?
I'm going with Johnny on that one. Ruiz.
So I don't want to talk bad about anybody because that's your job right now. But so if there's one guy that you've coached that would make a silly mistake, let's say silly mistake, like staying on the ice a little too long after the clocks hit 0 and getting a pretty big penalty for your team, who would that be?
Dustin Gesso.
Okay, let's go a couple more rounds. Who is most likely to wake up in bed with a half-eaten burrito?
Frankie McClendon.
Another former Cottonmouth. Or not Cottonmouth, former River Dragon.
Would be likely to come back to the apartment or the house all smashed. Who's big party animal of the team?
Well, Mike Lopez is gone, but he'd still get my vote on that. Mikey can hang with the best of them, that's for sure.
So here's mine, and I might be stealing someone else's. But not who is the ladies' man? Who thinks he's the ladies' man? Who thinks that he's like the guy?
Well, if you ever see these guys dressed up after the game, I mean, you got to see the outfits. So I would say that's half the team right there that describes it.
Who's the pretty boy?
I really miss my boy Aaron Atwell this season because nobody dressed like Aaron. Aaron walked out. He looked like he was right out of GQ. Steve Brown, same thing. When you put those two guys side by side, I mean, they commanded the room when they walked in anywhere just by the way they were dressed. This season, I would have to lean towards probably Dmitry Kuznetsov. Dmitry's always dressed to the nines, looking good.
There you go.
Nice. I think we have time for one more round. So,
if I could just make a counterpoint to that one, Lee, I'm sorry, but that was a great one for me to segue to. Listen, who would it be? We talk about the pretty boy. Who would you say is the most like Bear Grylls, the natural, the rugged, the manly man to go out in the woodsy woods kind of man, like the opposite of the pretty boy of the team?
I'd say Dustin Gesso. He'll come to the bar after the game in his gitch, in his sweatpants. He's got a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful children. He just had another baby. So he's more of the family man. He's there to take care of business on the ice. When the game's over, that guy is just the most relaxed guy. And it's funny. You watch his game on the ice. When he's off the ice, he'll come out in a sweatshirt and a T-shirt. I'm like, bro, you got to put something on to come in the bar like that.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, this one always gets some pretty good answers. So, who is most likely to go to the movies, pull a popcorn tub out of the trash to get free popcorn?
Well, these guys will eat anything, that's for sure. They always raid like the skyboxes after the game. A lot of the companies and corporate people will get good food. They eat half of it and leave. Those guys come right out, man. They're going right in the skybox before they're cleaned. Out of that one, I'm going to go with Gonzo on that one. Gonzo just likes to have fun in the game no matter where he is.
Nice. Patrick, you got
I'm
one more?
going to use mine to say this because I don't want to miss the opportunity. I just want to say that I was really excited coming up for this. Me and Lee had talked about it, coming on and helping out. But you've not disappointed in me. It was over beyond my expectation of what I expected. I knew you were already like a class act, but you as a person, you character-wise, you as a coach, just everything about the way you've lived your life is a very good example for a lot of people. And as a young person, I want to say thank you for what you've done for the hockey community, what you've done just in general. And so just want to say, this has been one of the highlights of my life, 100%, getting to talk to you and getting to, actually hold on a personal conversation. It's been pretty, so I just want to say that. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you coming on here, kind of short notice, and I absolutely owe you a favor now because you really bailed us out today. You came through when we needed you, and I can't thank you enough, and I absolutely owe you one. If I ever meet you, fuck buying you a beer, I'm buying you a fucking case.
I appreciate it, guys. I will say the screen tonight, looking at it, wasn't quite as nice as looking at Tommy Lahren last night. But you guys were okay too, man. I appreciate the
So,
Dang.
I really do appreciate the invite.
unfortunately,
I enjoy doing these. It's great. It's great. What's great about this league is, you can have a conversation with me. Fans can have a conversation. You can have a conversation with fans. I love being in a room, although I'm not allowed to post. I don't do any more posts, but I love to see the interactions with fans, players, and everybody else. I think that's what impresses me about this league is, look, I can promise kids in a high school when I'm there or a third grade class, when you come to the game, I'll get you a picture with all of the guys. I'll bring you into the locker room and show it to you. I think all of these interactions, and again, hats off to you guys, because doing a show like you do is what puts all this stuff together and makes us what we are.
I appreciate it. Usually we have our sex appeal Anna. She's usually here, but
That
she had
that
some
was
personal
supposed to
business
be
to take
me.
care of tonight. She couldn't
That was
be
supposed
here,
to be me today,
unfortunately.
so sorry about that.
So this is my replacement here.
Well, he's a little bit better looking than I am. I know he's a lot better looking than Ed.
Our family genes they get better as they go down the line, so they had to bring some nice teeth on here.
Well, hopefully I'll be seeing
For
you when
sure.
I come
Hopefully,
down
maybe
to
I'll be
Columbus.
singing the anthem, maybe playing the organ or something. So, but I'll definitely come by and say a hello.
There you go, bro. It's my pleasure again to do this. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Really appreciate it, 100%.
Yeah.
Y'all be safe.
So what a great show. First of all, I want to say how amazing it was, for a first episode for me to be on. I was thrown a bone, basically. This guy is just a class act. I know I already, told him, but I mean, from his personal story to, what he's done in his life personally, and then just the way he acts as a coach, the way he runs his program. And you can hear just even in him talking, just the love in his voice for not just the sport of hockey, but then the family that we talked about, those players, making those players better. Literally great guy. Being able to meet him, being able to just be in his presence, even though it was over the phone, was just amazing. But this is a great episode. Love it.
Yeah, you picked a good one to come fill in for. I expected nothing less knowing him, getting to talk to him a few times over the last few years. Class act guy, another great interview. I don't think we've had a bad interview yet, knock on wood. So, again, for a fill-in, I'll say this right here on air. So you're a natural at this. You knocked it out of the park. You killed it today, bud.
Appreciate it, really do. Can't wait to get back on. It's it's thrilling to when you told me today I needed to fill in. I was like, let's do this thing. Let's get it started. So,
yeah. But no, again, another great episode in the can. This is the time of show we need to thank our friends of the show.
Yeah. So just real quick, want to thank Chattahoochee Valley Warriors. And Pred TV, so just our supporters for the show, just give a quick shout out and thanks. Usually I'm not the one saying thank you, but I'm the pretty face that's going to say it tonight, so we appreciate it.
You did very well. And then I bring it to you by my coffee co-op. We're aiming to be the best coffee in FPHL, so viewers, if you want to try the best coffee in the world, I've already been called out to be the best coffee in Michigan. So if you want to try it out, give me a call, a message, and all that stuff. I'll take care of you. I'll give you better coffee than you've ever had in your life. The link's below. And thank you guys for listening to us. And don't forget to subscribe and like our show, because without your support and your viewership, we would not be here. And so thank you very much, guys. Like and share it. And share it to a couple of people that you might know that likes hockey now. So we could always like to increase our viewership.
Yeah, and don't forget Pro Hockey News and a Pro Hockey News podcast. Again, if you're interested in covering a team in the Fed, in the FPHL, maybe SPHL, the links, Lou's email's in the description. Send him an email, tell him you're interested. He'll get you the packet, try to get you set up and see if you're a good fit for Pro Hockey News. Ed's going to be working with Pro Hockey News in some format. We're not quite sure yet. I've been working with them, for over 10 years on and off. Great organization.
I have to,
great people to work for.
I have 3 teams to decide from so we're just narrowing that down. So we're going from there.
Nice. And we do have a couple of announcements. Right now, you'll notice this hat that I'm wearing. If you watched every episode of this, shut up, Sean. If you've watched every episode so far, you'll notice a trend. I have not worn the same hat twice. The reason is, this is the last time I'm going to start recycling hats again. You have our email address, 10minutemisconductpodcast@gmail.com. Email us in what hat I wore in what episode. By next week, or the next 2 weeks, we're going to take everybody who gets it all right. You're going to get thrown into a pool. You're going to win a prize pack. We don't know everything that's going to be in there. We could tell you, I think, Ed, you offered a bag of coffee.
I did.
Lou from Pro Hockey News is going to throw in a Pro Hockey News T-shirt. I got some hockey cards from Travis Ridgen. I have a card from Varberg and a card from this year in Motor City. Somebody's going to get one of each. And we might have a few extra prizes thrown in there. But like I said, whoever gets them all right, we're going to throw you into a pot. We're going to draw one name. That person is going to win the prize pack.
Sounds like a yummy pot. Oh.
and our other announcement is starting next week. Next week, we have Justin Schmidt on the show. Columbus River Dragon, but also King of the Rink for Ice Wars. Starting next week, the entire month of February, the next 4 episodes, nothing but Ice Wars. We're calling it Ice Wars Month. We're going to have Justin Schmidt on. We're going to have Daniel Amesbury on again. We're going to have Justice Smoke on. And cross our fingers, hopefully, and it's in the works, to get AJ Galante on the show. And so far, the plan right now is at least 2, maybe 3 of us. I don't know, Ed, if you're going to be able to go. But when Ice Wars comes to Cheyenne, we will be there in person. So let's cross our fingers. Everything good comes out through. Like I said, next month, Ice Wars Month. We got some great guests. Our next 4 guests are going to be fire. This is going to be, you don't want to miss this. It's going to be so much fun.
For sure.
And you never know. We might have our new pretty face back again.
Sure, yeah.
Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen,
Yeah. If you win the package and you're from Columbus, maybe I'll give you a kiss or something at the next River Dragons game. We'll see.
We want people to join to enter the contest, not run.
You're right.
Wow.
I got to give the people what they want. Come on.
Do I need to call your mom?
No, calm down. She doesn't watch that.
But we appreciate you coming on, son. I appreciate you filling in.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you guys for the opportunity. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you for being here this week. We appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Another great episode. We picked a great one for you to come in. And again, let's tune in next week. Justin Schmidt coming on. We got a lot to talk about. Shit. It's going to be another great episode.
Just keep your head down and carry on. You fight like hell, turn the other cheek. It's what separates the strong from the weak. And that's just the way that the line gets drawn. You gotta keep on living till the fight is gone.